Hi Priya, brilliant work on submitting your second batch of essays. This is really good to see, and it's great that you're kind of committing yourself to improving your English. It's really the best way that you can do that. So let's have a look at what you've got. So then, your first question was about the restoration of old buildings and whether we should restore old buildings or improve infrastructure and housing. Let's have a look at what you've got. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether money should be spent on restoring old buildings or providing accommodation and improving roads. Okay. Some believe that the amount spent on restoration should be used for building new houses. Personally, I strongly agree. This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, well done. So, a good introduction there. So a strong start to your essay is good to see. We've already started to correct that first sentence. So experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether money should be spent on restoring old buildings or providing accommodation and improving roads. Okay, this is just so you get consistency between your two verbs. So either we have to use the noun, so restoration of old buildings, or provision of accommodation and improving roads, or an improvement of roads, or we use the ing form, so restoring old buildings or providing accommodation and improving roads. Okay, because you'd already got two verbs in ing, it makes sense here to use restoring. Alright. Some believe that the amount spent on restoration should be used for building new houses. Personally, I strongly agree. Good, well done. Well described there. This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Yeah, well done. Good. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that the artistic monuments have paved a way for employment and tourism. Great use of this phrase here, really well done. The central reason behind this is twofold. Good. Firstly, the repair and maintenance of monuments provides jobs, with an S, for unemployed people. Okay. We could even say here, instead of unemployed people, we could just say for the unemployed. Secondly, the best way to attract tourists is through historical buildings, which, in turn, increases our economy. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 90% of tourists, are interested in history and prefer travelling to countries where old buildings are well maintained. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that we should preserve our history by restoring old, well-known, which is hyphenated, buildings. Good, well done. Brilliant. So, a great structure there. You've started with your point, you've given your evidence, and then you've rounded off your paragraph. So, really well done. Great work. It's really good. Okay, the next one then. On the other hand, although rehabilitation of buildings has great advantages, so I would take out the comma here and to put it here. It is essential that the government fulfills the basic needs of the public. This is largely because many people are homeless and most of the roads are not in good condition. As there is an adage, first impression is the last impression. Okay. So when tourists visit our country, they make an impression about our country in mind. Okay, so as there is the adage, first impression is the last impression, when tourists visit our country, they have an impression about our country I would say here, from the lack of houses and quality of roads. Okay. So I would slightly change the beginning of this sentence, and say in replacement of this, according to. Okay, so as the famous phrase states, the first impression is the last impression. Okay, so as the famous phrase states, okay, so slightly changing that structure. Good, so when tourists visit our country, they make an impression, so here, about from the homelessness and quality of the roads. For instance, an extensive study by Oxford University, so NOTHA, indicates that 30% of the people in our nation do not have homes, healthcare, or, because it's negative, or education facilities. Consistent with this line of thinking is that the government should first invest in fulfilling basic needs of the public and the society. Thus, it is possible to state that when people living in a city are deprived of basic needs, the money should not be spent on restoration. Good, well done. So another example of a really well-structured paragraph. So starting with your point, giving your evidence, rounding off the paragraph. Really well done, and a great example in the middle there. Just a few changes to vocabulary, but otherwise a really good paragraph. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that, first of all, the government should fulfill daily needs of the public and then invest in restoration. It is predicted that the tourists will continue to increase to those countries where there are good facilities. Okay. I would say that tourist numbers will continue to increase in those countries where there are good facilities. Okay, but yes, well done. A good piece of writing here. Particularly good how you've managed to structure your paragraphs. So, rounding off each paragraph by relating to the question, which is great. You've got a really strong introduction. Your conclusion is good as well. Good. Yeah, well done. You've managed to put your opinion in the conclusion too. Yeah, well done. A really good piece of writing there. Just a few changes to some of the wordings that you've used, but otherwise, really very good. A great piece. So next you had your letter to write, which was explaining why you couldn't attend an exam, and saying that you needed to include apologies for the situation, identify yourself, so with your name, student number and case number, an explanation of what happened and any possible evidence, and also a possible resolution or possible resolutions to consider. So, dear Sarah Madam, well done. So a good formal start to your letter. My name is John and I'm enrolled in English course with student number 119 and case number 10. Okay. I'm enrolled on the English course. Okay. I'm writing in response to the letter I received today seeking a reason for my absence from the first term examination. Okay, absence from the first term examination. First of all, apologies for not being able to submit the proof on exam day. Okay, so this one, apologies is a little bit informal. Okay, so it might be something that we say in a conversation. So if I'm late, I might say, oh, apologies, the traffic was bad. Okay. What we would say instead is either, please accept my apologies. Okay. Or, first of all, I apologize for not being able to submit, proof of illness, for example, submit proof of illness on the day of the exam. Suddenly, I fell unconscious on exam day morning. So suddenly I fell unconscious on the morning of the exam and was hospitalized for 5 days. After a blood test, the doctor discovered that I was suffering from swine flu and advised me to undergo medication immediately, instead of at the earliest, immediately. Now that I am back home, the doctor has strongly recommended a fortnight of bed rest to recover completely. Okay, well done. Good. I hope you will permit me to write my first term exams when I'm back to college. Okay, so I hope you will allow me to take or retake my first term exams when I return to college. I am attaching reports of my blood test and the hospital bill as evidence with this letter. Once again, I apologise for, instead of any inconvenience, because this sounds as if we're not sure if there is inconvenience, what we would say instead is I apologise for the inconvenience caused. Okay, so that way you're acknowledging that there is inconvenience and that you apologise for it. I look forward to hearing from you. What I would say here is I look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon, because we've given them, we've asked them if we can retake, and we're hoping that they will say that, putting something that's hoping that we'll hear from them. So I look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon. Yours faithfully, John. Okay, well done. Good. After John, we don't need a full stop, so that can just be yours faithfully, John. And faithfully doesn't need a capital letter, okay, because it kind of counts as a sentence on its own. So capital Y for yours, and then faithfully lowercase f, John. But yes, very well done. Good work. So you've managed to include everything. You've apologised. You've got your name, your student number, you've got your case number. You've got an explanation of what happened. You've mentioned the possible evidence at the end of the letter, which is good. And you've given possible resolutions. So I hope you will allow me to retake my first term exams when I return to college. So yes, very well done. A strong piece of writing, really good form. So you've taken on board that it's a letter. You've used some nice formal structures. Just as we said before, be careful of this apologies one and use instead, please accept my apologies or I apologise. Okay, just to make it a bit more formal. But yeah, very well done. 2 really well structured pieces of writing with some great vocabulary in there. So great work, really encouraging, and you've taken on board some feedback as well, which is really great to see. Well done.